All right, students, welcome back. Welcome for another edition here of our SAT real-time video series. As you guys get into class today, can everybody give me a thumbs up? Let me know that you're here, and then we'll get started in just a second. So if you haven't already said hello or given a thumbs up, please do so now, and then we will get started here in just a second. Hey Mambo, welcome back. Guys, anybody that hasn't joined us before, today we're going to be going through the May 2021 SAT International Test Form, specifically looking at section number 3, that's the no calculator section. If you guys are interested, you can find the test form in a link below this video, so just click below and you can open up or you can just watch it as you go. We also have the full playlist for those that joined us last week, including, Mamba, welcome back. We have our reading and our writing and language video that we've already done this week, or today and tomorrow. This week, we're going to be looking at the math sections of the SAT. And just like we did on the reading and the writing and language sections, so far we're a perfect 800. For anybody that watched, we got, I think we've only missed one question. We missed one on the reading section. But for anybody that's watched, we're going to keep it trying to go for that perfect score, and I'll try to talk through this as we go. One of the constant questions or thoughts that we get while we do these live streams is always, well, like, how do you do it? How are you doing this quickly, or have you not seen this before? And one of the things that we try to communicate is that the reason that you can do this, and especially on the no calculator section and the writing and language section, the reason that you can do this, and eventually over time you can do this in live and you can do it on any test form, is because these concepts are constantly repeated. On section 2 and section 3 in particular, the concepts are always the same. You're going to be looking at linear equations today, I'm sure, right? We haven't looked at this test form, and students are always like, well, how do you know that? If you've looked at every single test for the last 10 years or whenever since the last time it changed 5 years ago, every single test has had linear equations, systems of equations, factoring, right? These are all basic principles of Algebra 2, and if you're not familiar with those, then that's a problem. But this isn't crazy concepts, right? The SAT, the College Board, and colleges in general don't care if you are an exceptional math student. While that helps you in a lot of ways in life, or if you want to go into that profession, that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for, can you recall a lot of concepts in a timed, stressful environment and stay calm while you're doing it? And that's ultimately the point. The content is not important, and we know that because the highest level of math tested on this is Algebra 2. And I know for some of you, I know that a lot of you guys are from outside the U.S., outside of America. The Indian, for example, the Indian mathematical, right, technical STEM curriculum is crazy hard. Like, all of the Indian students here, you guys should pat yourselves on the back. You guys should give yourselves a big thumbs up because it is crazy difficult. And so you know that when you look at this, these concepts seem so easy. And in that case, right, and that's for a lot of math students. I'm particularly singling out the Indian curriculum because it is so hard. But again, you guys, you can continue to improve. Any math student can continue to improve. And the key today is to not make simple mistakes. Don't overthink this. Yeah, Mamba, right? I mean, the Indian math curriculum, I know we've had students that and obviously on these live streams, this is going to be all about then not making simple mistakes. A lot of times when you're a high-level math student, and this is for any level math student, but we tend to overthink things, right? Or we tend to worry about the hardest question, when in reality, that's the thing about the SAT, is that the easiest question is worth the same as the hardest question, and nobody is ever going to ask you which, you got a 390 on the math, you got a 790 on the math sections, but you missed the hardest question, you're not very smart. No, nobody ever asks that. No, instead they say, wow, you got a 790, that's unbelievable. So if that means that you have to skip the hardest question, then skip it, right? And don't make simple mistakes on the easier ones. And that goes for every level of the test. If you feel like you have to get, a 600 on the math section, then set your sights on getting the 15 questions that you know how to do. If you get 15 right? Greetings from Kazakhstan. Welcome, guys. Yeah. Guys from all over the world, welcome. It's really cool that you guys tune into this. Again, as you guys look through this stuff, I want you to keep thinking about that, okay? Is that the simplest question is the most important question, and we cannot afford to make simple mistakes. All right? Can everybody give me 2 thumbs up in the chat or a thumbs up below the video, whichever one you prefer? 2 thumbs up in the chat or a thumbs up below the video if you guys are ready to go, if that whole spiel makes sense. And again, the 4 most important concepts on the math no calc section are factoring. I should do it in order. It's linear equations, number 1. That one we have to know. Linear equations, systems of equations, right, where you get the stacked problems, factoring, and then if you going into higher level stuff, graphs of functions, right? How you interpret a parabola, whatever it might be. Those are really the four most important concepts that you can see on this test. And if you study those, going into every single no calculator section, you're going to know that you can get 11 or 12 out of 20 questions right before you even start. And that is such a major key. It gives you so much confidence. All right, so without further ado, guys, here's 25 minutes on the clock. We'll put 25 minutes on the clock, which is the standard time for the no calc section. Hopefully I set everything up okay. Okay, cool. And again, this is the SAT May 2021 International Test Form. So some of you guys have probably already took this in May. And then we're going to be doing more of these videos going forward. Next, we'll look at the May 2021 US test form that they administered in May. Okay? But without further ado, guys, here's 25 minutes on the clock. Obviously, we can't use our calculator, and I'll try to talk out loud as we go. Okay? And our time starts now. We're on pace for a perfect score overall right now. We got an 800 on the first two sections, so let's see if we can keep it up. All right, so one of the things that you guys have seen in the past videos, if you've watched them, is that I always try to find the easiest questions first. For example, if we look at this question right here, right? Number 3 is a graph, and number 2 is an x-intercept question. Those two are, regardless of how easy number 1 is, number 2 and 3 are so much easier to understand. I can understand them without even looking. Number 1, maybe you have a little bit of insight, and that's somewhat of a linear equation problem as well, but it's not a word problem. So if we just start with this and we see x-intercept, right away our mind should say that if we're looking for the x-intercept, that means that y, not x, y is 0. So we just do 8x, right, plus 6 times 0 is equal to 24. Okay, and we get 8x is equal to 24. Write everything out, because this is a perfect example of where students miss this problem going too quickly. They divide by 8 and they think they're dividing by 6. They make a simple mistake, right? And instead of getting x is equal to 3, right, they get x is equal to 4 and they circle answer choice B. Shoot, I gotta know what my time is here. Sorry, guys. I don't have my time up on my screen, so I don't know how much time we're. I just know that I started the clock. And again, if this happens to you, just stay calm, right? It's not the end of the world. We can still do okay. Come on, how do we open this link? There we go. Okay. Cool. Okay. So guys, anyway, so does that all make sense? Hopefully that's straightforward. Okay, right, linear equations. Look for the operative word without having to represent everything. If you see linear equations on this test, right, we know the slope has to be positive. Okay, so that means that on both accounts, right? So that means that if you have the slope as positive, it's going to have to be positive x's both times, right? Otherwise, it's going to be negative. So these can't be the same on this side of the equation. So that's got to be off. That's got to be off. And now it's going to be, without even looking at this, guys, you guys can see that this answer choice has to be A for number 3, because when I saw this, right, 3x, just to show you guys why I know it's that, if both slopes are positive, is equal to 6, I'm going to subtract 3x, right, to get it into linear form. On the same one as down here too, right? And so now I have negative 2y is equal to negative 3x. When I divide by negative 2 to get y by itself, right, then I know that that's going to be a positive slope. And so you have to have different forms, right? This has to be positive and the y has to be negative. That's how I could eliminate those answer choices without actually having to go and solve everything. Does everybody see that? So I think, hopefully I didn't make a simple mistake there, and I'll come back to this one if I have time at the end. But I think that one should be right. Let's see. The given equation relates to positive numbers. Yeah, so guys, anytime you see this is another really easy question. Look out for these. These come up often. Anytime you see in terms of, all they want you to do is get the variable in question, right? Sometimes they don't give you that A is equal to. They just give you this part of the equation, and they don't say A. But you want to say A in terms of means that A is on one side of the equation, and now you're just solving, right? So write everything out. Don't take anything for granted. Even if you can do everything in your head, right? That's a pride thing. That's not showing us anything. Write everything out. Make sure you get the right answer, right? And if you do something like I did on number 3, right? Negative NB plus 10 divided by K, right? A equals negative NB. Oh yeah, Mamba, that's a good call on number 3. That's a good call as well. Yeah, there you go. Mamba, that's right. That's actually a really good point. So if anybody that's watching this later, Sorry, what do we have here? We have 10 minus NB over K. No. It's got to be both of these. It's got to be... Everything's over K, right? Yeah, everything's over K. Sorry, guys. Just make sure you don't make a simple mistake. Everything's over K. A equals 5, right? Right away, our first thought here should be y equals f of x, right? Which just means that that's a linear equation. I'm gonna skip this one just because I don't want to lose the momentum I've already gained. There are going to be easier questions for me on this test. For example, this one, which expression is equivalent? Anytime you guys see the word equivalent, just know that it's not always the fastest way, but you can always plug in a number for x. So you can say like x is equal to 3, for example. You solve for this one. This isn't going to be the fastest way to do that on this particular problem, okay? But x is equal to 3. If you plug that in and then you plug it into each of these answer choices, whichever one gives you the equal value is obviously going to be right. But in any case, this one can just be factored out, right, to x squared. This is a common question, x squared minus 9 times x squared minus 9, which is just x plus 3 squared times x minus 3 squared. Right, that's just a factoring problem. Look out for these x to the 4th terms. If you memorize that, like that's a thing that comes up. I just saw one that was an x to the 4th, but instead of plus 81, it was plus 16, which is just x minus 4, right, x plus 4. So just keep looking out for those. So what is that? It looks like its answer choice D. Those questions come up a lot. That's number 7. This one is usually pretty good. Cooper, yes, we did the reading section for the same test form last week. So if you click the playlist in the description below this video, you'll see that. You'll see the reading section. We talk through that one as well. 4/5, guys, just remember that whatever shows up on top, right, whatever's up here, is going to be the value that shows up inside of the equation. Okay, so in this case we get the cubed root. It's like saying if we give you g to the 1/2 power, right? That's essentially saying the square root, right, which is a 2 here. That's how I always think about it, so you don't get confused. So really, we're saying here that this is going to be the 5th root of g to the 4th power, h to the 2nd power. Do we see that? So first of all, we know we have to have the 5th root, so it's not going to be here. Oh no, we know the answer. It's going to be b for 8, right? But we know right away that it's not the 4th root, and so you can eliminate a and c if you just remember this rule, and you can apply it for square roots as well. Okay, does everybody see that? Number 9 was the equation of the graph shown. Anytime you get it, this is what I'm talking about with graphs of functions, right? That was the 4th one I mentioned. But if you're in that range of like 650 plus already on the math section, and if you're in that range, you probably already feel pretty comfortable with graphs of functions, right? So what is an equation of the graph shown? All we're going to do is we're going to plug in points. This is something that's constantly not taught in math, right? This is 2, 4, 6. So right now we know we have a point at 1, 6, right? And we just know that we have to plug that in. Be careful, right? This is an easy example of a simple mistake over here. Okay, so if we just plug those in, we're expecting to get the value, right? So 3 to the 1st power, right, is not 6. Right, so I just did 3 to the 1 is equal to 6. That's not true for number 9, right? Let's see, y equals, 2 times, so this one works. That's not 6. 3 times 2, that one works. So I'm going to have to go to the next one, right, which is what we're looking for. So right up here we have 18 and 2, so 2, 18. I don't think, let's see if D works. I think it's B. Yeah, it is B, right? 2 to 8, 9. Yeah, it's got to be B. Number 9. Doing good on time, right? We've skipped some questions. What is the solution to the given equation? We've skipped some questions here. Just plug these in, right? Solution to the given equation. So we're just plugging in. We're looking for x, right? But be really careful. This is another classic example of where we see students miss these all the time, right? It's not going to take you that long. We have plenty of time. Whoops, -6, right? -8. This right here is 4. This is your -4, right? And this is -14. So A is off, right? And now you can kind of start doing, once you have the structure of it set up here, and you have it written out, you kind of know what's going on. You can maybe start, so it looks like 3 plus 2 is 5, right? So I think it's 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 3 minus 8 is -5, but the absolute value of both of those is 5. So I'm just making sure that -3 doesn't work. 6, yes, it's going to be C. Keep moving. I don't like 11 and 12 because they're word problems. Don't do word problems when you don't know how those are going to turn out. Like I know, right? I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at in math. And by focusing on word problems, I'm already at a disadvantage, at least to start, because I don't know how those questions are going to go. I think that they're going to be relatively straightforward. I hope so because my mom's a math teacher and she would not be happy if I couldn't do this section well. But at the same time, right, we should be looking for questions that we know how to do. Like this one, for example, you can do this one of two ways. Anytime you see a square root in the answer choices with a factoring problem, what looks to be a factoring problem, 999 out of 1,000, right? 99.9% of the time, this is going to be using the quadratic formula, right? And it looks like there's not going to be any a value below, so we have negative b, right, plus or minus the square root of b minus 4ac, right, all over 2a. For you guys that don't remember the quadratic formula, I think that's right. I hope it's right. So let's see, we have 12 plus or minus the square root. And right away, if we know we have 12 out here, we can, in all likelihood, eliminate answer choices A and B because we would have something underneath it, but we're probably going to end up dividing. We are going to divide by 2 here, right? 2 times 1. And so right away, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so yeah, it's negative 12 plus or minus. Yeah, discriminant method, right? Mamba, that's exactly right. Sorry guys, I'm getting distracted here. Let's see, negative 12 minus 4 times 1 times 23 all over 2a. Yeah, so we can probably make the determination here. It's going to be 2, right? There's going to be 2. It's going to be positive because this is positive 12. So the answer has to be D here. And always check that, guys, right? Always check your answer choices. You'll notice that as I'm going through these, I'm not just immediately going to the end of the problem. Right away, I know that this, I could eliminate A and B because I know it was going to end up dividing by 2, so it wasn't going to be 12, it was going to be 6. And then if you look at your answer choices when you have everything written out, most of the time, this is where it drives me crazy when people say the SAT is trying to trick you. They're absolutely not. They're giving you the answer right away before you have to go through all of the process. And again, from a time-saving perspective, we all know that that's a huge, huge advantage to be looking at the answer choices, right? To be looking at the answer choices. Oh yeah, sorry guys, it is b squared, but that wouldn't match. So perfect, that's a great example, guys. B squared, right? So if you miss this, it is b squared in here. But if you miss this, can everybody give me a thumbs up if you see that even though I didn't even write out the quadratic formula after just talking about how my mom's a math teacher and she would, she wouldn't be very happy if I had missed the quadratic formula question. But even before that, by looking at these answer choices and understanding what I was going to be doing later on in the problem, you can get it right even if you make a mistake. And that's where the SAT is not trying to trick you. In a lot of ways, they're trying to help you. 15, let's see, an xy plane, endpoints the diameter of a circle, which equation represents the circle? Just draw this one out, everybody, right? If we have a circle here, we have negative 3 and positive 3, meaning that the diameter, and we have 10 and 10. So 10 and 10, right? The diameter is just equal to 6. So right away, we can eliminate A and C, okay? Right away, we can eliminate A and C because, oh no, diameter, sorry guys, diameter is 6, so the radius is 3. Whoops. So we can eliminate B and D, rather. Right, because we have a radius. For those who remember, it's x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared is equal to r squared. And the diameter, right, is 6 from negative 3 to 3. So the radius is just 3 from here to here. So that means that the answer has to end in 9 for this r squared part. And then let's see if we can get the rest of it. It looks like the middle of the circle is going to be right here at x equals, so it's got to be A for 15. Right, so does everybody see that? Yeah, sorry about that, Phantom. I recognize my mistake. Yeah, sorry about that. But you were right. You can't eliminate those as the opposite. But that's going too quickly, right? So if you, that's the whole thing I'm talking about is missing that question when I absolutely knew how to do that problem. Would be that's a huge blunder, right? That's what I'm talking about with those simple mistakes. So let's go to some easier problems here. Now, right, 16, and when you get to the free response questions, that always starts over in terms of difficulty. So let's see, 2x plus 3y, what is the system of the equations? So I'm going to just do it using the substitution method, equals 2y plus 8, right? By getting x by itself, I'm going to say 2 times, this wasn't the best method, just because I'm now solving for y. I'll just go back and plug it in. I'm already in it. 2, don't make a simple mistake, Chase, plus 16 plus 3y, minus, let's see, 7y is equal to negative 14, y equals negative 2, so if I plug that back in, x minus x plus 4 equals 8, minus 4x equals 4. Yeah, that was yeah, whatever. Let's see, what value of n satisfies? Yeah, n plus, guys, this is again, think about how, can everybody see how easy number 15 is? Or number 17, rather? Yeah, Limited Mamba, you were right. I just made a mistake there. I was already in it, though. And once you're in it, if you make this mistake like that, just keep going with it, right? You don't have to, we can, it's one of those situations where you make mistakes here and there, but if you keep going with it and see it through and don't kind of beat yourself up during the test, you're still not going to wait. I mean, we probably wasted maybe like 10 seconds there by not doing the better method, but it is what it is. I agree with you. After looking at it, then elimination was better. 3 equals 6n. Does everybody see that the reason that I'm so adamant, right, about n equals 1/2? This is the easiest question by far on this whole test. And if you were to get worried about question number, let's say 12, right? If you were worried about that question and then you started to run low on time, do you know how easy it is to make a simple mistake? And this number 17 is without doubt the easiest question we've seen so far and the easiest question on the test. I'm sure that it can't get much easier than that. That's just basic algebra. But can everybody give me a thumbs up if you guys see that? That if you're worried and you lose your momentum on question number 12 because you have that, who has that, give me a thumbs up too if you've had that moment of like, oh, I know what the answer is, I know how to do this, but I just can't see it in the multiple choice answers, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and you get frustrated. The chances you make a simple mistake then, right, is huge. The f is, this one actually might be even easy, or it's equally as easy, the function to find, right? We're just going to get 30, be careful, 30 is plugged in for y, not for x, it's not f of something. 30 equals 2/5 x plus 10. Be careful, right? Minus 10, minus 10. Another thing that we see students constantly miss or forget about is the idea that now you're just multiplying both sides by 5/2, right? 5/2, this is 20/1. So we can immediately eliminate that to say that this is now just 10. 5 times 10, right, is x is equal to 50. Right? X is equal to 50. We're doing okay on time. I'm yapping too much. I'm talking too much. And now that we're in the free response and the fact that we can't guess on the free response, now you should just start doing some harder problems if they come up. Yeah, we don't really have time to skip anymore, and we're going to go back to the beginning and do those. Now I'm supposing a room with a square-shaped floor. The actual length of the floor is 90 times the length of the floor on the blueprint. Okay, so it's a scale factor of 90 times, right? Actual floor of P is P times the area of the floor, and what is the value of P? Yeah, so guys, if the length of the floor is 90, right, and that's 90 times, remember that if you're squaring a value, okay, if you square, or if you are looking for the area, that value is squared. If they ask for the volume, then you would just cube that value. So all you're doing here is saying 90 squared, because that's what the area is going to be. And you're just saying that that's what, 8,100? I think it's 8,100. Yeah, 9 times, yeah, 8,100. So that's one of those where that question is extremely easy, right? Or that question is extremely easy. If you know the rule, and if you don't, you can be in trouble because you can just sit there and do it over and over again. Okay, where a and c are constants, what is the value of a? We can just do this doing systems of equations. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, which is kind of frustrating, but right, they're just saying y is equal to, so right here, guys, I'm just going to plug these two in, these values, so we get, what, 2, there's got to be an easier way to do this. I don't know. Don't, guys, yeah, 2, so 2a is 2 squared plus c is equal to 3, and 6 is equal to a 4 squared. Let's see. Right, and we're just solving for these. We get 3 equals 4a plus c, and 6 equals 16a plus c. This question, I should not be doing this, spending this much time on this question. Right, I think we can just factor down, right? And we get, what? Subtract down. The c's go away, so we get -3 equals -12 divided by 12a, -12. Does anybody know a faster way to do that? If you guys want to comment, you can. A equals 1/4, I think. But yeah, that question, there might be an easier way to solve for a there. But I'm not sure what that would be. So again, in the moment, just like we were talking about a number 17 or 16, which Mamba correctly pointed out, there was an easier way to solve that one. In the moment, I couldn't think of the easier way. So again, you don't want to sit there and toil away with like, oh, there's got to be a shortcut to this. Just do it the long method, right? Which was, I think we got that question right. just do it the long method, and you know, hopefully we did get it right, even if it takes us a little bit longer. We still know we got that point, right? We increased our score by 10 points. Every one of these questions, we're increasing our score by 10 points if we see it all the way through, and that's where simple mistakes cannot happen. Okay, we got to avoid those simple mistakes. You can increase your score so much faster if you just worry about not making simple mistakes than if you worry about the single hardest math problem that you're going to see. Okay? College math teachers plans to spend $1,800 buying computers and books. Each computer costs $300, and each book costs $90. $300. Each book costs $90. Plans to spend $1,800 buying computers. 90. Where X is the number of X is the number of computers, so that's 300. I think it's just A, right? Yeah, that. But that's one, right, where you can get kind of that's one why we don't start with that question. I think it's A. I don't. It seemed really easy, but that's where you don't want to. Then you start to question yourself. If you just do the questions in the order that we did, right, then it shouldn't be too hard. Let's see, the function f and b, it's right there. We know that this is a linear equation, so y equals mx plus b. If we need to plug these values in, we can, but that's all we're thinking about here. It's a linear function. Based on the model, what was Jack's pulse when his speed was 0 kilometers per hour? Here's speed, right? His pulse was that's the b value is what, like 63? C. Right? So number 5, yeah, 5 is C. Right, so 0 kilometers per hour just means that they're trying to look for the y-intercept. Right, y equals mx plus b. We got to make sure we're memorized there. This problem I should have done. I really like geometry, and I should have done this problem to start. It's probably just a basic trig problem or a measure of D. Whoops. I think it's similar to triangle ABC, where side DE corresponds to AB. Okay, that's DE. Draw this out right if you can. And side DF corresponds to AC. So this is and DF. Wait, what? DE corresponds to AB. Oh, this is D. Whoops, this is D, sorry. This is E. That's F. There we go. And DE equals to AB. What is the measure of DFE? DFE is down here, so this is just 37, 53, I think, right? This is 53, so that's a similar triangle. It's similar, right? And so the angle measures are the same. I think it's got to be B for number 6. Let's see. We're going to do an OK on time. We got that one right already. 9 through 9. Okay, let's see. The equation above can be represented by parabola. Translated so that the vertex is at 0, 0, which the following describes the translation. Okay, so this one right now, this one is shifting to the left 5 units, and it's shifting down 8 units, as it's written here. Okay, so as we look at this, so it's going to be 5 units in the positive direction, right? So I think we can say, because it's 5 units now back to the right to get back to 0, 0. 5 units in the positive direction, and 8 units in the positive direction. I think all is B. Because basically, guys, right, we have to shift it back to get to 0, 0. So we have to shift it back 5 units and up 8 units. So I think that's right. So the following statement is true about the equation above. 5x minus 2 plus 3x. Let's see. Let's just do this out, right? If they give you these, just combine like terms. For whatever reason, the SAT loves combining like terms. It's 8x minus 2. And I'm going to imagine that these are going to be the same equations, right? Equals 3x plus 12 plus 5x minus 10 equals 3x equals 8x, right? Plus 2. So these are going to be parallel lines. Is that plus? Let me just make sure you have plus, and it's minus. So there's one solution because it has no solutions, right? There's no solutions, right? Because parallel lines, okay? Parallel lines is, okay, let's see, the graph of the function is defined. The graph passes through the points 10a to 10a and ab. For a and b are constants, what is the value of b? Negative 10a, ab, let's see. Just based on this graph, right, we know it's going to be going up pretty substantially. Oh, minus 5, so it goes here, right? Negative 10, there's not good left, I can plug this in, I think. Y equals, so A equals 24 times negative 10, so that's 636, that's 9 minus 5. So A is 4, And then if we plug it in over here, we get b equals 1/4 times 4 plus 4 is 8, 64 minus 5. 1/4 of 64 is 16 minus 5 is 11. So I'm going to choose C. 15. I think, is that it? Any question about number 6? Did we get all those done? Huh? You got those done? Well, guys, yeah, I felt like that one was pretty straightforward. Let's go back with number 3. Yeah. Represented by. Oh yeah, so somebody pointed. I think it was Moms that pointed this out earlier. Just to finish up here, because I think it was the only one we started. Just to point this out, because these are parallel lines, the structure of this part has to be the same. That was a much easier and more clear way to understand this problem. So thank you for the comment. All right, these all have to be the same, and then when you get it into the y equals mx plus b or the point slope form, the slope, or I'm sorry, the y-intercept, the constant, right? That's what's going to be different. So these constants over here are what's going to change. So I think that I think A, now I know A is right, but I think we got them all, right? I hope we got them all, because otherwise I was just sitting there wasting time doing nothing. Let's see. If we didn't get them all, I'll do the last problem that I missed if I have one. No, I think we did get them all. Yeah, guys, I think we got them all done. It's 50. Yeah, that I did feel like that test, and we'll see in this with the scale when we go through it and grade it. We'll see with the scale, but I felt like that test was a little bit more straightforward than past tests. I felt like there was a lot of linear equation problems, frankly, and a lot of graphs of functions where for number 20 as an example, right, when we plugged those numbers in, this is a great example of this question looks harder, right? But ultimately this is two things, right? 20 is first recognizing that this is just a graph of a function, right? And it's basic algebra, knowing that you can plug in x and y points always. That's something that's so under-taught in algebra, right? That you just plug these points in, right? You plug those points in and you get them all right. The thing that you want to be thinking about is once you plug them in, then it becomes a systems of equations problem. But at the beginning of the lesson, I told you guys that linear equations, systems of equations, factoring, and graphs of functions, if you know those 4 things, you basically go into every test. And I think this one, because because that's basic algebra stuff, if you go into this test, you're going to get, I said 10 to 12 at the beginning of the video, but on this one, I think it's probably more like 15 questions answered correctly. If you just know, if you have those points that I just mentioned absolutely locked in, because even this one, right, number 12 here, these are both linear equations, and if you know parallel lines, right, have no solutions, meaning that the slope is the same, right, 8 and 8, but the y-intercept is different. If you know that, then that's another one, right? That's just a linear equation problem and understanding how linear equations relate with parallel lines. So let's see. Let's just go through this quick. I think we got to go through. Does that all make sense, guys? Can everybody give me a thumbs up if you guys recognize the importance of memorizing linear equations? Let me see if I plug the answers here. Also, if you are looking for a place to study and to really memorize every linear equation that can come up, make sure that you download or register on Star U. I posted that at the beginning of this live stream. We'll go through the answers. Because linear equation shows up, and I'll show it to you guys in just a second. Let's see, number 1. Okay. Number 1 is A. 2 is A, 3 is A, good. 4 is D, yep. 5 is C, 6 is B, 7 is D, 8 is B, 9 is B, good. 10 is C, good. 11, D, 12 is D, 13 is C, 14 is D, 15 is A, and I don't think we missed any down here. I think it's going to be 20 for 20. 16 is Y, X equals 4, is that right? Yep, that's right. N equals 1/2, that's right. 18 is X equals 50, that's right. 20 was 1/4, that's good. Even though it took us a second, 80 wasn't good, yeah. This was the only one that I made a common assumption on. So 20 for 20, guys, right? The 2 big takeaways here are that you need to memorize those 4 lessons. So I'll write this at the top quick. We got 20 for 20, so we're still on pace for that perfect score. It'll be the first perfect score we've done on video, so that'll be great. I think I can get the Math with a calculator section is not too bad. Usually it's the reading one that throws us off, but we kind of lucked out that this was a hard reading section if you haven't seen that video yet. 20 for 20, right? We're still going for it. The thing that I want you guys to remember is linear equations, right? Linear equations, systems of equations, and how they intersect, right? Factoring. Make sure you have all of these memorized, and I'll show you guys a super helpful in graphs of functions, right? Graphs of functions. Okay. And guys, like I've said in many videos, we're trying to make this so that everybody has access to the best resources possible. If you have not downloaded Star U yet, it's free to download it. I'm going to pull this up here on my screen. All of this stuff you can learn. The things I just wrote down and mentioned are all right there on the app. But you have to be the one that takes advantage of it, okay? You have to be the one that does this stuff. So on the right here, you'll see, background of my screen, right? If you click lessons and practice problems after you download, or I posted the link and I'll post it again, you scroll over here to SAT and then you go to SAT Math. Look right here, right? You guys can see all of the algebra things, factoring, systems of equations, applications of linear equations. I highly encourage you guys to download the app, right? Download Star U. Just post this real quick, guys. But again, all of this stuff is available, and most importantly, it's all available where you don't have to really look up this stuff. These are the most important concepts. Let's see, Austin. Austin, that's awesome, man. It's why we want to do these things, guys. So Austin's comment, I'm glad that it came at the end. If you guys didn't see that, you know, it's a testament to your hard work and your ability to watch those videos. And if anybody's watching this and sees Austin's comment in the chat, right, and if you don't see it, then open up the chat if you're watching the recorded version. He has college completely paid for. Now, that's great that we're making these videos, and that's what we want you to do, but it was Austin's decision to watch the videos, right? I promise you this advice will, and Austin's a great example of this. I promise you this advice. I do this every single day. I've done this every day. I've worked for a number of different companies, and all of this knowledge is coming to this point where we're trying to show you guys the best ways. Over the 8 years, over 1,500 students I've worked with individually, not to mention these videos and all the connections we have through these videos. It's very, very important that you take advantage of these resources. My entire goal in starting the company and doing all these things and now having the tutors that we have and these videos and the channel and all that stuff is to give you the resources. And once everybody has the resources, the playing field is level, and now it's your ability to go out there and actually put it to work, right? That's why if we're going to give you guys these free resources, the people that are here, that are watching, that are paying attention, even if you're not commenting in the chat, but you're watching and you're doing this and you're working hard, Austin's a great example. You can get a full ride scholarship. You can get into more schools, all that stuff, and that's going to set you up differently in your life. It just will, in a positive way. Okay, guys, so please help us spread the word. Again, like I said, we want to be doing these videos every day if we can. Help us spread the word. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. You can join the membership program, download Star U, all that good stuff. And please, again, help us spread the word. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, obviously. And then tell your friends, because we want to be doing these videos full time, and we definitely can be if we get to a certain number of subscribers and work all that stuff out. So, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will be on tomorrow for the SAT Math with a calculator to try to knock it out and get a perfect 1600 for the first time on one of these videos, these real-time videos. Mamba, you take the SAT in 11th grade, but you can take it in 10th grade. It was originally designed to be taken in 11th grade as your junior. But you can take it as a 10th grader as well. You can take it as a 9th grader. You really can take it and still have it apply to college anytime in your sophomore year, but you can take it for fun or for practice as a 9th grader as well. Does that make sense? So guys, appreciate it from all over the world, right? I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Again, we'll be on at the same time tomorrow for the Math with the Calculator section. Subscribe if you haven't. Give us a thumbs up one last time as we sign off here. And hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, guys.